Hello developers, and welcome back to another video from TechHiveHQ. In today's video, we are going to be diving into Tic-Tac-Toe, but not just any Tic-Tac-Toe game. We are building it using JavaFX, and we are going to make it interactive, responsive, and visually appealing. So whether you're a beginner looking to sharpen your JavaFX skills, this project will give you hands-on experience building a fully functional game with sleek user interface. Let's get to coding. So what you're going to do, you're going to try and open. So you're going to create a new project. I'm going to name it Tic-Tac-Toe game. We are using Maven, and you can just add the sample code, then create. As you can see, it comes with the POM file. So what you're going to do first, you're going to come to the main.java. So here is what we are going to creating the app, but first we need to add our dependencies. So first of all, you're going to properties, make sure your Java is correct. We're going to add our dependencies, so you're just going to add the dependencies tag, then add a dependency. So the dependency is JavaFX, org.javafx, open JavaFX. Then the artifact ID is, we need the JavaFX controls. So here you're just going to put JavaFX controls. So, and then the version. We are going to use the latest one, 23 point. Just select this one. Then now we are going to add the plugins. So you're just going to add the build, then inside you're going to add the plugins. So once you create the plugins, then you're going to add the plugin. Now for the first plugin, you're going to add group ID, then you're going to add Apache, Maven, Apache, Maven compiler, Maven plugins, so this one, so Maven site plugins. So we're going to use the latest version. You can choose that one. There's no harm in using the latest one. Then we are also going to add the configuration. Then the target 8. Then we are done with that plugin. Then you're going to add the JavaFX Maven plugin. So just the same plugin, group ID, so org.open JavaFX, so this one, so that one, Maven plugin, so this one is going to be wrong, so should change this to the latest one, 0.08. Then we're also going to set the execution and the goal. So execution, then the execution, then there is the goal, then there is the goal, which is run. Then after executions, there is the configuration, then main class. Then the main class, depending on what yours is called, main class just going to set to org.example.main, and you're done. So what you're going to do, click on here Maven, sync all Maven projects so that they can be synced. As you can see, it is now, everything is okay, and we can test this using Maven JavaFX run, and it should run without any errors. Yeah, as you can see, it ran with no errors. So now we are now going to create this application. Remove this, and now we are going to make this class extend application, and it's going to be imported. So just implement the methods. So now we are going to set our variables. So at the top here, we're going to create a boolean. So this is the logic of the Tic-Tac-Toe app. We are going to create turns. So once you play, you cannot play again until the next person has played. And we're also going to create the board, which is just a bunch of 3x3 buttons. So with it boolean, I'm gonna call it xturn is equals to true. So this is going to track whose turn it is. Then you just create the board. Private button. We're going to create it into an array. So 2 arrays. I'm gonna call it board is equals to new button. So what the values 3 by 3 semicolon. Now for here, we're just going to launch the arguments. So first things first, you're going to set the grid pane. So this is the grid for the Tic-Tac-Toe game. So grid pane grid is equals to new grid pane. So now we are going to set gaps between the buttons horizontally and vertically. So that's H and V. So grid dot set H gap, no, not that, set H gap, set it to 5, and then grid dot set V gap, also set it to 5. Now we can also set custom CSS for the buttons so that they can pop out more. So we can use grid dot set style. Set style. So now we are going to use CSS, the padding to 20, background color. We're going to set it to a version of white. So you can just go and search a color picker tool, come here and paste it. Then we also want to create a border. So I'm gonna go with that. Sorry, I forgot to add a semicolon here. Always add a semicolon after every CSS. But we also now want the border to be seen. Then we're also going to set the border radius and also set the background radius to 10. So with that being said, so we have created this. So now we are going to run this and see how our board looks like. So the first thing we are going to do is create a scene equals to new scene. So grid, we are going to set it to size, let's say 340 by 360, 340 by 360, comma. Then we're going to set the title for title of the stage, then set the scene for the stage, then show the stage. Okay, so how do you do that? The stage is this one. So stage dot set title, we are gonna call it my Tic-Tac-Toe game. Then we are going to set the scene for the stage, set scene, then call the scene, then show this scene. So now this you should be able to create a board and display it. Maven javafx.run, and it should run with no errors. As you can see, just set my tic-tac-toe game. So now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to loop through the rows and the columns to create the buttons for the 3x3 board. So far we have not created the 3x3 board. So where are we going to create that? After this. And if you're not satisfied with that, you can make this bigger. So depending on your preferences. I saw that one was really small. Yeah. So if that is big for you, then you can proceed. So we are going to use a for loop. Now we are going to create the rows. So in row, we all know how to create rows. Row is equals to 0. Row is less than 3 because we have 3 rows. Then row plus. Then now we are going to create the columns inside them. So another for loop. Create a new button for each cell. Okay, so each cell we want each to have a button for clicking. So button cell is equals to new button. Then cell dot, we're going to set the preferred size. Set pref size, we're going to make it 100 by 100. Then you're going to set cell font. Cell dot set font, you're going to make it to new font 24. Then so this cell font, it's going to set the font size for the text on the button. So like the X and the O's, this is the size being set. Then you're going to set a style for the button. So cell dot set style, and you're going to add some custom CSS. You can copy this CSS. So background color, border color, then there's the border width, which is just similar to what we have on the top. Font weight, we want it to be bold. Then the text fill, the color, set it to that. After doing that, we are going to capture the row and the column value to use in the event handler. So final int r for rows, then final column. Now we are going to set an event handler for when the button is clicked. So cell dot set on action. So this is it. So so the action event handle move. So you're just going to handle the move. So handle move, you're moving the rows and the column. R, C. So this is a method that we have to now create the method handle move. Yeah, I'm going to set it here. So let's complete this. We are going to store the button in the board array and add the button to the grid at the appropriate position. We have the board which we created here, and remember it was an array. Now we are going to set it to row and column, and it's going to be equal to cell, which we have just created above. Then we are going to take the grid and add the buttons. And what are we adding? Cell, columns and rows. And these, without the handle move, I guess the button should show. So let's try and see how it looks now. You see? This is how it looks now. The reason why it looks this wonky is because we changed the size here. You can just come back here and change the size here back to what it was. And we can just change and run again. As you can see now, you just need to add the functionality of the X and the O's. Alright? Okay. We are done with the first part. So now we are going to handle the move. So what we are going to use an if. So if the style is empty, we set the button text to X or O based on whose turn it is. And then we are going to change the button style based on the player X or O. So remember we created an X turn here. This is what you're going to use. And then also while we are creating that, we also want to check if the current move that is being played is the winner. Okay, here we go. If board row column intro, so this one should be row and column dot get text and see if it is empty. Dot is empty. Then what we do, we set X or Y, right? So now board, we are going to set turn, set text, and we are going to check the turn. So X turn question mark, we are either setting it to X or O based on the play. And then now we are going to check the turn. So you are going to change the button style based on player X or O. So if X turn, so now we are checking this board row column dot we are going to add custom CSS based on how you want it to look. Again, this one you can just copy. So you can just copy this, the background color, set it to that, border color, set it to that, border width, set it to that, 128, bold, of course, and then the text fill color. Else, what do we want? We want to set the board to another color. Board row call dot set style, something different but similar. So similar, just the colors that you are changing. Now, once that is done, you want, if you know how Tic-Tac-Toe works out, let me just show you. If a user plays X, they have won the game. So you want to check the winner and alert if they have won. Okay, so how do we do that? So you're gonna come here, use an if loop. If going to create a check winner, we're going to create this method, and now this method we are going to implement it, check winner. But when we create this check winner, and what do we want them to do? We want them to alert. So you can just create an alert, show alert, and then reset the board. But we also don't have a show alert, so we are going to create method show alert, and also we don't have any reset board, so we are going to create a context, a method for reset board. That should work. So it resets board. So if X or wins, it resets board, but we know with Tic-Tac-Toe you can draw. So what happens with it when you draw? Else if board is full, so we check is board full, which is another method we have to implement. Is board full, then we are going to do what? Show alert and say what? It's a draw. And if it ends in a draw, what do you want to do? You also want to reset the board. So we implement this, and if none of these have been achieved, we want to go to the next person, because Tic-Tac-Toe is you play, I play, you play, I play until you get a winner or we draw. So else X turn, switch to the other player, turn X turn. I think you understand that. Now, which one do we start with? The easiest one to do is show an alert. Showing an alert is easy. You just create an alert. Let's just start with alert equals to new alert. You're going to set the type. Alert type information. We don't want a warning, we just want to tell you what is going on. So what do we want the title to say? Game over. We need to say game over, because either way, if you have won or if you have drawn, the result is the same, the game is over. So alert the set title, and the title is gonna say game over, GG's. And then the header alert, we're just going to keep it to null. It's going to set it to null for now. Then we want to show, so alert dot set content text, then that's the message. So string s, we can just change that to string message. Then alert show and wait for the user to interact with it, which is close it. So alert dot show and wait, and there you go, the alert is complete. All of these boolean, they need to return something. So let's go with the booleans first. So is board full? This one is also easy. Is board full? We need to use an for loop to go through all the boxes, all the buttons, and see if it is empty. So for, we're also going to go through the column, and now you're going to use an if statement. If board column and row dot get the text and is empty, what do? We return false. So basically, if you go through and check and see it is, if you check get text is empty, you return false. Otherwise, you're going to return true. Yeah. So if no cells are empty, return true. Is empty is equals to true. So the board is full. So it's a draw. If it's a draw, now we want to reset the board. And how do we reset the board? You're going to loop through all the buttons and clear their text and set their style. Okay, intro. Now we're going to check the board. Board, row, column, and what are we doing? Set text to what? Nothing. We are going to set the style back to what it was. So the same dot set style, and the style, you can use this, you can copy this, which is the same as what we had above. Border width, font weight, text fill, you see the border color, the background color, everything is the same. So this code, as you see it here, it has been reset. But now one thing you don't want to forget, after you reset the board, you want to reset to extern at the beginning, because you already know the first person gets X and the second person gets O. So extern is equals to true. So now we also need to check if there is a winner, because not all the time you are going to draw. Now we need to see the winner. The same, we're going to use a for loop to check each row and column for a winning line. We are going to check the rows and you are going to check the columns, and you're going to use a method called checkLine. So what basically checkLine does, it goes through button 1, button 2, button 3 and see if the 3 buttons in a row have the same text. You understand? So basically checking if you have won. If method checkLine, so we are checking the lines, whether it's horizontal, vertical, diagonal. checkLine now. checkLine method. What do you want to do? You want to go through the board from position 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, and check if a line matches and return true. So we are going to, so inside here, going to board. So we have made the integer for not column. So int I, just I is less than 3 and I plus plus. So we are going to check I, which goes through the board, and then position 0, because we are starting from 0. So all of these, you are going to circle through position 0, 1, and 2, because those are 3. So comma 2, 3. So 1 and 2. You're going to cycle through that. So this one checks the rows. And now we are also going to check the columns. So you're going to use this and then check the columns. Line the same 1, 2, 3. But now we are going to swap these to 0, 1, 2. So it should remain I, and I. Then we're going to return. So if a line matches, we are going to return true. Also, as you know, in Tic-Tac-Toe, you can win diagonally. So you also need to return check line. But now this is for diagonal. So you have to check both ways. So we also need another check line. So we are going to check again. But this time we are going to, so board, at this time, going to 0, 0. So that's what you're going to be setting, comma. So I've just simplified it. So check line. So this one has to have 3 buttons. Button B3. So we need to return if B1 is not empty and the text is equals to B2 and B3 and neither of them are empty, that's what we are going to return. So B1 get text, B1 dot get text is empty, and so we have to go this per button. B1 dot get text is equals to B2 dot get text, and B2 dot get text is equals to B3 dot get text. So this should work. This should work. This should work. This is the complete code. So now we're going to run and see if we have any logical errors. As you can see, once we try and click, it doesn't, and this is because we are not supposed to check again, we are just supposed to return. So these, you're not checking, we're just going to return check line board, delete, get rid of this and have that you're not returning false, and I'll move. So the issue could be we are resetting the board too early, so you're gonna remove this and then I'm gonna check if the board is full. Reset board, show alert and wait, and then we can reset the board here. Reset the board, check winner. Let's see. As you can see now it works. Oh. But now the problem is it doesn't switch to O. We did not put this inside here. So you have to put that inside there, then else add that there. So this should work with no hiccups. Yeah, so this should work. should work perfectly well. So X O X X X O O X wins about O wins. So as you can see, O wins. And that's how you create a tic-tac-toe game. So if you are able to follow along, like the video, comment, share, subscribe to people who may also want to do this. And for other Java projects, I'll attach a playlist there if you want to do some other projects also. Thank you and see you in the next one. If I win this game, you have to subscribe. I am X. It's rigged. Okay, see you in the next one.
Perfect.